political speech costs money. You need to make commercials, buy advertising time, or maybe just spend money for a sign. Costs money making the sign. John McCain and President Obama say money corrupts, and some people with too much money have too much influence. We need to stop that, they say. McCain-Feingold, the law tried to stop that, but then the Supreme Court, fortunately, said no, parts of this law are unconstitutional. Even corporations have a right to speak. Well, that upset the president. In front of members of the Supreme Court, he said this.
Last week, the Supreme Court reversed a century of law that I believe will open the floodgates for special interests, including foreign corporations, to spend without limit in our elections.
The justices didn't look happy to hear that, and the president was wrong about foreign corporations. But yes, American companies now can buy ads before an election. The mainstream media was horrified by that. The New York Times said it strikes at the heart of democracy. My next guest, economist Jeff Milo, studies campaign finance, so explain that. The Times' argument is that because corporations have money, the sense will be that the rich business dominates.
Well, the rich have rights, too. And the problem with a lot of campaign finance rules is that the spirit of them is to limit political participation in speech. But that's contrary to the letter of the Constitution.
All right, so much for corporations. Let's talk about what happens if an individual wants to participate in politics. Help a candidate. Put up lawn signs like, lawn signs like this one. So let me ask my audience here. Tonight it's mostly college students from King's College. Welcome. If you guys want to send out mailers encouraging people to tell their state representative to cut government spending, should you be allowed to do that? Hands. If you do, should you have to fill out paperwork and report your activities to the government? Well, I would think not also, and we've given the students a questionnaire titled, Is it Legal?, about what rules are governing the case if you want to help a candidate or advance a cause. If you want to see our quiz, you can see it and the answers at johnstossel.com. But earlier I gathered the forms from the students and we graded them, and most of you got most things wrong. But I don't blame you, because these rules are insane. I got them wrong, too. So, Jeff, let's take them one at a time. Suppose the audience here sends out mailers encouraging people to tell their state representatives to cut government spending without filling out forms.
That actually falls under the definition of lobbying in 36 states. So that could be illegal if you haven't done the proper paperwork.
You have to register as a lobbyist, and you could be in trouble if you don't. Second question. A union sends flyers encouraging its members to tell the state representatives to increase government spending.
Similar situation, different group. Despite that broad definition of lobbying in many states, membership organizations that are pre-existing wouldn't have to fill out paperwork. That would be okay. So that would be legal.
Considered internal communications.
Correct.
Suppose I volunteer to help a candidate produce TV commercials. I'd be good at that.
Some states this could be illegal. The problem is, even though in general volunteering is okay, you're volunteering something that you're ordinarily compensated for, and so that could be considered a non-monetary or in-kind contribution, and so that could run afoul of laws as well.
I can do it, but I have to fill out the forms, and there's a limit on how much I can give.
If contributions are limited in that state. Now, if an amateur were to volunteer to do the same thing, that would be okay. But it's because you would have talents and ability that it might be a non-monetary.
So how is any ordinary person supposed to understand this?
I'm not sure they're intended to. If you read campaign finance regulations, it's worse than tax law. They're written for professionals.
I mean, in California, with that in mind, here's the law. If you and your friends want to oppose a ballot measure, you have to fill out this form. It's with the instructions this long. I can't figure it out. This certainly would discourage me from ever wanting to participate, because I might spend all my money in lawyers' fees.
Well, and that's part of the problem, that these complex regulations create a barrier to entry to political entrepreneurs and people who are amateurs that we should encourage to participate in the political process.
Let's go on to question 4. A candidate spends $1 million of his own money on his own campaign.
That's going to be legal everywhere, and that's because the court has said that in order to regulate campaign finance, it has to be for the purpose of preventing corruption or the appearance of corruption. And you can't corrupt yourself.
And audience, you got that one right, so congratulations. 5, a citizen creates a website unconnected to any candidate that opposes a tax increase without suggesting that people contact their state representatives. So he just, on his Facebook page, says, I oppose this tax increase.
Believe it or not, in 14 states, this could be considered lobbying as well, depending upon whether the activity crosses a dollar threshold. Because you're speaking out on a public issue, that might be a matter before the legislature.
And in some states, you can go to jail for doing the wrong thing.
That's a possibility. In New York, you could, the maximum sentence would be 4 years. It's similar to arson in Alabama.
Alabama, 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I would think this makes it easier for incumbents to stay in power. If you have complicated rules, it's a way for the political class to just protect itself.
I think that's right. I think a way to view this would be like barriers to entry that prevent competition in markets. You're preventing new people from espousing ideas and organizing groups.